New.
With South Asia now, to pivot to actually what I really wanted to talk to you about, specifically because you've picked up and left, you've moved, so you have a very much more entrenched interest than me or Shawn. Specifically, I mean, we live here. I stated to Shawn when I came back last month from Pakistan, like I told you, and I still intend to. I'm trying to like eventually move back, and at least to the Gulf states eventually, but eventually to Pakistan. And within the next 3 to 5 years, hopefully that is the inkling right now, and let's see how hopefully it works out. Now, again, I want to preface all of this conversation by saying we just talked about the possibility of the Saudi king getting killed, Saudi Arabia getting bombed, Saudi Arabia getting bombed. The guy, them going to the Syrian capital and being like, "Listen, man, this Israeli guy's in charge now, and everyone's gonna listen, and it's gonna be normal." So we've gone into the conspiratorial route already. So that being said, none of this has been as uh, this has not been as conspiratorial or a source of misinformation compared to the past 4 or 5 days what we heard online and on the Indian media.
Yeah.
And look, we spent 2 to 3 episodes. We spent an episode with Dana in season one, where I specifically was like poo-pooing Pakistan's standing globally, domestically, the situation, the economy, the media, the culture. We talked about this extensively, maybe to hypercritical extent. But during these past 4 or 5 days, uh, this proliferated this like weird, unnatural nationalism that is not typical of me. Where I'm like, listen, man, I'm hearing all this information come from Indian media. I sat through hours of it actually, just like listening to live stuff. Them freaking out. Can you redeem it on steroids?
Yeah.
And why did you redeem it? Like on steroids. And I feel like India and Pakistan both, since they closed off those telecommunication channels within a few hours, if not, like, I think in India they had announced blackouts for electricity overall in the prelude to this. I'm not sure how much that affected their television access or whatnot, but they have closed off any like Twitter, anything from the other country. Us three, on the other hand, have access to both of those mediums. So I'll let you start what you were able to parse in the past 4 or 5 days from both media outlets. What happened? Starting, if you want to start with Pahalgam, which happened, I think about a couple of 20 days ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's an incident in Kashmir. If you want to dive into it real quick.
I don't even think it was. Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago, and then the attack happened last week, right? Before I get into that, I know Hani had mentioned about how he plans on moving in the next 2-3 years to Pakistan, and I think a lot of mindsets are shifting from the West perspective, where hey, I don't see the American dream, and again goes back to that declining empire where people are trying to shift away from that mindset back to their countries and trying to do something better. But again, going back to Pakistan and the whole India conversation, I think in the past 3 weeks, the whole Pahalgam situation where two men randomly come into a field of tourists who are visiting Kashmir. Again, Kashmir doesn't have that many tourists coming in as of now because of the checkpoints
and these were tourists from India.
India, and I believe there were some that were from
international.
Okay. But I think majority of the ones that were killed were Hindus, and I believe there was one or two Kashmiris who died protecting those 26 from getting killed. But the question that the Kashmiris have been asking is, how did those two terrorists, quote unquote, by India, saying that it's Pakistan who infiltrated those terrorists into that area, how did those people get in to Kashmir with so many checkposts, with 800,000 military men within those boundaries? And
it's
then again,
one of the most militarized areas in the world.
And if you look at false flag operations, just like almost 2 years ago, with the whole Palestinian-Israel event that took place. For 1 hour, Hamas was able to attack Israel, and the army was nowhere to be found, right? The same concept, and again, we all know that India is in bed with Israel, even though Israel doesn't want to be in bed with them, right?
The pull support only goes one way, not the other.
Goes the other side, right? So, what I see, what I got out of people that were staying in Pakistan, who live in Pakistan, is it's a replica of what happened in Israel 18, 19 months ago, where Hamas was able to get in and for an hour attack Israel, one of the most heavily surveillanced, boundary occupied land. The same thing goes with Kashmir. They have 800,000 military men. They have multiple checkposts. Same thing as, Palestinians live in Palestine with. So a lot of it resembles with what's happening in Israel. So this happens for an hour. There's literally a military base that was I think 5 minutes away from where these 26 people were getting shot and killed. And they were nowhere to be found. Now, when they did come, a lot of the Western media who pulled out these pictures that the Indian government or Indian media posted claimed it to be an AI image. I don't know if you guys seen those clips or not. But again, a lot of it resembles with what happened in Israel and Palestine 18 months ago. Now, going forward another 2 weeks from then where India attacks Pakistan overnight. One of their politicians was asked, hey, were we able to find those terrorists? What happened? And he responded back saying that we're still investigating. So if the investigation isn't closed, how did you go into a sovereign country and attack without concluding that Pakistan was responsible? One. Two, this conversation about, we're attacking terrorists from which side? First, how did you find out that these guys were Pakistanis? Two, how do you know they belong to a group in Pakistan that sent these two people? And how do you know where those locations are? Because I know we were talking about the media and how they said that they killed one of the terrorist heads who read one of the Namaz-e-Janaza.
I forgot the name. They said they killed someone in Bahawalpur, which is deep in Pakistan, right?
Yeah.
And this is not usually how these skirmishes historically have not gone that deep into enemy territory.
Did they say it was like a Lashkar-e-Taiba guy?
Yeah, and he was reading, he was leading the namaz the next day for someone who had died, right? And that's so basically what I'm trying to get to is that the media from the India side, and again, Pakistan, I'm not saying has a very great side of things, but again, media-wise, in the past 2 weeks, even Indians who watch Arnab Goswami or their other leading journalists, if you listen to them, you actually understand how well fed they are by the Modi regime in India, where they're pushing for war for the past many years since Modi's, I think it's his third term that he's leading. They've been pushing for war. There was one of the interviews that I was talking about earlier with Piers Morgan. One of the Pakistani YouTubers brought this up. He's like, I can't remember what the terrorist attack was, where they said an Islamic group had done, but it was a Hindu RSS member who committed the terrorist attack in India, and it was blown out of proportion. Where it was a Muslim guy, it was from Pakistan, etc., etc. So they've always found a way of blaming Pakistan, and again, Pakistan from their side asked for an independent investigation, and India said, no, we're just going to attack you. So from Pakistan's perspective, again, me who just came back from Pakistan 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, while I was there was no fear. There was no scare. Even one of the mosques that these guys attacked, the next morning for Fajr prayers, there was thousands of people praying namaz.
I saw that. That's crazy.
So Alhamdulillah, I don't think there's any fear. And again, it's not about being patriotic. It's not about, hey, I'm Pakistani, I'm not Indian, or I'm Indian, or I'm... Logically, if you think about it, how does this attack take place? Ask this question. If my house to be robbed and I have guards standing outside my house, I would ask those guards first, hey, how did these guys get into my house? Rather than pointing fingers other ways, saying, hey, this happened, Pakistan did it, let's attack them.
Yeah.
Or, hey, the guards are not at fault, let me attack those thieves.
Unless you already have it out for those guys.
Unless the guards are involved with the thieves.
Or, yeah.
To let them inside the house.
Right.
To rob me, right?
Right.
And which happens. But again, in this perspective, how did they get into this territory, and why isn't that being talked about in the media's eyes or in Indian media? Why aren't those questions being asked by the Modi? By the media to the Modi government? Because of
Got you.
To I guess add to that, and maybe on a day-to-day thing for the past few days, where you mentioned the outright bombing of 9 locations, and in domestic media it's like, hey, look, we can do this regionally at will now, like the Israelis can, and we can go in deep into Pakistani territory, Bangladeshi, whatever. Like, in this region, we are the
power.
We are going to be what Israel is trying to be in the Middle East, which is like as domineering force that will use military action in sovereign territory when needed. And it's a process of vassalization that I think on day one Pakistan understood immediately. And again, I'm not saying this as a nationalist of any sort. I joked about it earlier, but like on an objective level, like parsing both of those mediums of information, what I've come to determine what actually unfolded in that time period. Like, when they made the attack, they thought they'd be able to just play it off. Pakistan's up for a deal with the IMF, and the situation at home it's not perfect. It's not great. I mean, this government right now was in a very promiscuous, a very precarious situation, and the most popular political figure is in jail.
Yeah.
The army has been at this time is historically unpopular. Maybe since the 60s, the first time. Maybe in the 80s a little bit also. In this time period, they didn't. I don't think the Modi government, which has a big election coming up in 3 months, foresaw a retaliation of the sort that Pakistan did the next day. And what's important to talk about, this is happening without going into enemy territory. No plane is going into enemy territory yet. They're firing cross border. I guess the next day, Pakistani media blew up that they've downed these French-made planes. And at first,
not just Pakistani media.
We'll get into that. I mean, whatever it is, because now we're getting into we're taking a microscope on this timeline, where the media starts announcing these planes have been downed, and in retaliation, and this is that. And at first, there's the 5 stages of grief. Denial starts in Indian media, which is these guys, they couldn't down anything with anything. These guys are on they're borrowing money from people. How are they gonna down something? And then slowly it went through one stage to another, where eventually on the 3rd, 4th day, their army guy was like, hey man, you lose things, it's okay. It's okay if you lose hardware during war. Whatever they lost on day 2 was enough for them to retaliate again, and this time take aim at different bases. And again, a back and forth, and I don't think even the satellite images that I saw online so far, which again may be AI, may be fake, but even the AI did not look some detrimental damage to any base. Yeah, you blew off a road, an airstrip, and those things on either side take a couple months max to fill in, right? It's not some big damage that happened on either side in that regard yet.
I mean, there's people who died on both
I'm talking about day 2, right? Day 2, day 3 right now. Again, like this is like, I'm talking about as information comes out, because I know like people have died on both sides. Once they did their second incursion and they hit these 9 bases, I guess this is where the big day comes. Where in the morning, where of I think Saturday, right, May 14th, or no, I'm completely messing up the days right now, but
it was
they
May 14th. It was
yeah.
May
8th or 9th,
7th or 8th. Yeah.
they go into apparently, again, according to them, do extensive damage in India. And from what I was hearing
They
on
blew
Indian
an Air Force base. One of the things that Pakistan was able to do was Pakistan didn't use its defense capabilities that was on ground. Those missiles that China and Turkey gave them to defend missiles from coming in, because that would give them their location. They let those missiles come in, and then they went and attacked India from our side. But India used their defense capabilities, where Pakistan was able to locate them,
take out the S-4000.
They were able to fire on the S-4000.
Yeah.
Now again, with
400.
S-400, sorry.
S-400. Okay, so now the Rafael has been dropped. The S-400 has been dropped, which is a Russian defense. So now you have France getting involved. You have Russia getting involved. Now you have Israeli drones that are flying into Pakistan, and Pathans are literally taking their guns and shooting those drones down. So I mean, now these Israeli drones cost upwards of millions and millions of dollars that are being sent. That are being sold to India, and India is buying them, thinking, oh yeah, the drones are going to have an impact. And here's a Pathan with a regular gun shooting those drones down. Yeah. So, if you look at it from a telescope, India is very similar, or Indian government is very similar to the Israeli government, just like RSS has a map of the greater India, where Pakistan and Bangladesh and Kashmir and Sri Lanka, all of these come into the greater India territories. Yeah. The same thing as Israel has a map of their greater Israel, right, that they want to impose on others. So if you look at the Indian side, when all of these things were happening, where the Rafale, the drones, the defense capabilities from Russia are falling, now these countries' stocks are going down. The companies that develop these tools, like the Rafael stock, I think fell down 15% on the day when the news broke out, where 3 jets were downed, and here the aggressor was India. So now you're in the offense side, and here's a country who's a third world country, quote unquote, who doesn't have money but is able to defend its territory with, how they say Chinese made is.
Chinese stock went up on the.
Yeah,
their
but usually that mindset, hey, it's China made, so it's probably shit quality, right?
Right.
But here's Chinese made planes, and Pakistan used Chinese satellites.
Oh, okay.
And according to a lot of articles that I was reading, is Chinese satellites are the best satellites that are up in space, rather than the U.S. It's better than the U.S. satellite. So now Pakistan is using their satellites to locate their planes. One, then Pakistan was also given these missiles from China immediately as this war was about to break out, that could cover up to 300 kilometers rather than 150 kilometers that these planes had. Now, Pakistan has another plane that flies with it, the radar plane. I don't know what it's called, but there's a regular plane that flies with their jets, where it gives them, that plane gets the access to the satellite.
Oh, okay.
Now you know where the planes are. The jet targets at the direction that this plane tells them to, and they fire a missile and it hits the plane. That's how these jets were bought down. And again, everything that Pakistan military stated was very to the T.
So let me just clarify. So this is air to air.
Yeah, all air to air. This was the biggest air
like dogfight
that the world has ever experienced in the modern day.
I think the day one incursion, that the Indian first incursion deep into deep territory, they used drones, and we'll get into this in a minute about the advancement of drone warfare right now. And again, Pakistan has a long history on both ends of this. So, but again, as this is progressing before the ceasefire that deal that Trump announced on the weekend, where again this is him announcing that itself is a big issue in India at the moment. That has sparked a big issue on all sides of the political spectrum. Like, hey, how did this happen?
Indian stock is down.
I guess the overconfidence and what they've been being fed for the past 10 years by this media that is deeply in bed with the government, with the state apparatus, they're hyper fixated on mirroring the U.S. news dynamic, which is polarizing, edgy, and a bit ratchet. So the past 10 years, they've been feeding Indians news that, hey, these guys don't have flour to eat and they're third world and we're better than them, etc. And now on day 2, when they had this issue happen, that kind of caught them off guard. And by day 4, when on the end of day 4, when Trump announces this, they are in a predicament where, hey, how do we justify this? Anyone can justify to anyone what just happened. It's almost like when the Bhabalpur attack and all these other bases on day 1 were bombed. Their media throughout that day, throughout that night there, was telling their folks throughout on national airwaves, we just bombed Lahore. We are about to bomb Karachi.
No, we're in Karachi.
We're in Karachi. We have boots on the ground in Pakistani territory, and we might take Lahore by the morning.
Damn.
Like, these guys are telling their audience on national airwaves, and I'm talking about like defense analysts, retired military personnel, people who are.
What's that guy's name? Bakshi?
There's that one. I think he's more of a comic relief dude, like General Bakshi or whatever.
With the mustache, the 3-star general.
Yeah.
He's like some old kook, but like I think like there's like this other dude also. They have a big Fox News type apparatus that is also funded, and the advertising base is Boeing, weapons manufacturers, and they do a lot of right wing rhetoric, anti-Bengali, Bihari, like Bengali like. Rohingya, Bangladeshi, anti-Pakistan, and that's how they run that media machine. During that whole night, before people went to sleep in India, they thought that they were gonna wake up and be
conquered Pakistan.
They were booking tickets. They were booking Airbnbs, trying to find Airbnbs in Lahore to book for the next vacation, thinking they're gonna be like sipping tea and stuff in like a couple of weeks in Pakistan, and now they're running everything like they're trying to do in Kashmir. When they wake up next morning, you have drones in the sky, and this happened for 2-3 days where they have rolling blackouts, which were mandated by the government already prior to their attack. And now, for the first time deep in their territory, they're seeing Pakistani drones. Again, people who they've been told for the past decade in this very enclosed environment that, hey, we have it good, man, you could have it like that guy instead. When that ceasefire happened and now everyone's caught with the pants down, where they're like, wait a minute, we invaded and we're told we're about to take it. Next day, some of our stuff gets bombed, but it's fake news, so none of that happened, right? So wait, none of that happened. Okay, so we were winning. And then on day 4, Trump announces a ceasefire, but based on what did we get out of this? Why would we do a ceasefire if we were winning?
Yeah.
Unless we were losing. And if we were losing, what did we lose? Because they didn't want to admit they lost any planes or people.
Right.
Yeah, and what U.S. who's been supporting Israel for years and this whole genocide that they did in Palestine, you think they would care if India was winning the war, that they would come in and say, "Oh, let's have a ceasefire"?
No, I mean, I don't think they were like trying to like moralize it in any way, right? There's no moralization aspect here because there is an antagonistic relationship that India has with hegemonic power. I'm not saying there's like a cultural like strong culture of not mimicking American culture, but there is a sense of, and that stems from the non-aligned movement since its inception. They've not wanted a hegemon coming and dictating their policy domestically, their trade, or their foreign policy, specifically with Pakistan.
And if they were winning again, if these jets weren't down, Rafales, which is developed in France and sold, why would French journalists write articles about the Rafale being down? Right? And again, the air marshal in Pakistan, Aurangzeb, said it very nicely. He's like, the planes are great, it's just the people who are flying it that aren't.
The culmination of all this right now, like, you're seeing in real time where this fascistic, jingoistic machine that Modi built in 3 terms, now coming up to election again. I really think it's hard. I think they have an all-parties conference that the Congress Party called in India, and it's a weak opposition, a soft opposition also to an extent, and they face the same issues that Democrats do here, which is not able to protect their own culture, their own trade to an extent, to the extent they're not able to protect the interests of the average citizen to the extent where they can really combat even an unpopular figure like Modi right now. Simultaneously, like, people also have this issue with them where they were the forebears of the state, so they are the state apparatus. The government face could be whoever, and right now Modi has had enough time to kind of purge the most prominent Congress installments in the state apparatus, but still, this is a Congress project. When BJP is up for election now in 3 months, and they've tried doing this again. And they've lost soldiers, lost the PR battle in the international media. He's lost the Indian position since the Simla agreement, I think in the 60s, has been, hey, we will negotiate bilaterally with Pakistan on Kashmir. And his announcement repeatedly that, hey, I'm going to mediate talks on Kashmir, go completely against that. And
whose announcement?
Trump's announcements that he will mediate this issue.
And by the end of his term, he's going to make sure that the Kashmir issue is resolved.
This is a complete deviation from the norm as far as India-Pakistan historically, and it puts India in a backward position where they've worked their way out of, since 2000, of not being grouped with India and Pakistan. They want to be India alone, Pakistan some third world country, group them with Afghanistan. We are India. But now with this hyphenation, quote unquote, of India-Pakistan's relationship, and I guess losing this regional hegemonic role where they've tried bullying people like countries like Maldives, this didn't work out. It has long-standing problems now that are going to face the entire every arm of the state. The military, which has been bullying people domestically in the Northeast, in Manipur, in Nagaland, going to Maldives, trying to do some covert operations in Sri Lanka or Tamil Nadu historically the past 30 years. Pakistan's been fighting wars since the 1980s.
And I think from the 40s, the only thing Pakistan has invested in is the military. Yeah, I mean, well, not only, but the majority of our investment has been in the military side of things. And again, we're very well trained and equipped, but I want to get into a conspiracy.
Wait. Before we get into the conspiracies,
after we're done,
after we get done talking about the Indian conspiracies, let's get into our own.
Yeah.
But before we do, on this whole, I was really worried as someone who has supported Imran Khan. The effects of this whole event that's occurred the past 4 or 5 days, it's gonna strengthen Shehbaz Sharif and the army's position as is.
That's what I want to talk about.
And Imran Khan's whole anti-army, anti-state establishment apparatus, that kind of goes out the window at the moment, because I feel like we have come together and people are recognizing this state, and I think this is every 20 years we need a reminder as a nation. I'm not advocating for martial law. I'm saying every 20 years, inadvertently, we get a reminder: who and why does the army run this country? Why has this identity proliferated?
When you're saying I think you said anti-state or anti-army. I want to correct you. He's not anti-state or anti-army. He's anti those generals who have been dictating what the state should be doing. Again, he's in multiple speeches. He said, "This is my army. This is my state, and I'm going to run it." But again, where I guess Hani brought that conspiracy up as I was wanting to bring it up, is that what did this event, or who did this event really, what do you qualify that? Benefit. Yeah. Who did it really benefit? So we know elections are in 3 months for Modi. This event does help him if it would have gone the right way.
It was supposed to help him.
Well, it still could.
Sure. Right.
Let's see how things roll out. But it also kind of helps Pakistan that this took place. Yeah, we know Pakistanis didn't do it. But it does help Pakistan because right now Pakistan had, hey, we're against the military because they have Imran Khan in jail. Where we don't agree with the politicians that are leading the country currently, and the public. I mean, even though they had taken the PTI logo when Imran Khan's party was running in the last elections, Imran Khan still got majority vote
through independent,
but we lost, right? Just off of Imran Khan's name. Not the politicians that were running under that banner. Now, that being said, now there's like a whole love affair between the military and the Awam, or the public, Pakistani public. I mean, again, as Pakistanis with the military, yes, if anyone was to throw a stone from outside, we'll all come defending it, right? But really, if you look at world politics, the dirtiest politics that is played, I think, in any region is our region, the South Asia, to the amount of killings and I mean, what's 20 lives? Give them up, we'll win.
So what are you suggesting?
So what I'm saying,
I want to not belabor it. I want to get to the conspiracy part of this now.
The conspiracy is that what if it was a plan that was well thought out by both parties, where it benefits us that, hey, we'll have unity now. The public is with the siyasaddan, the army. Forget Imran Khan, who's in jail, because now no one's batting an eye at Imran Khan as of now.
So are you suggesting that the Pakistani government orchestrated?
No. I'm not saying Pakistan orchestrated it. I'm saying, what if it was orchestrated by the Modi regime, and Pakistan said, okay, let's make it happen, but we're not just gonna go, oh yeah, attack us, and we're gonna retaliate. So our army does come up on the top, and now there's a whole love affair with the army.
There's no way that wasn't part of the calculation.
I mean,
there's no way that wasn't part of the calculation.
Wait, are you guys saying they communicated this to each other prior to
No.
the... I mean, we know Nawaz Sharif and Modi has a very...
again, we'll see...
Okay.
No, okay, so this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Pakistan orchestrated the plan by no means. It's not possible. Logically, if you're thinking it's not possible with that many military men being there, right? Now... and so many checkpoints, right? How can someone come in with a gun and start shooting him? Now, again, Pakistan didn't orchestrate it, but Pakistan did benefit out of this plan, right? Or for this false flag operation that took place. Now, what I'm saying is that what if Pakistan on the back end, how we know Pakistan has always played a double role with the Taliban situation with the USSR. So what if Pakistan did have a back end role to play in it? Okay, yeah, go ahead and do this, so we can benefit out of
What,
this.
what do you mean back end roll? Like, I mean, what do you mean?
Well, I'm not saying. Okay, I don't
What-
want.
what is a back-end role?
I don't want to say that Pakistan had a role killing people.
At any point in time, are you saying that there was any communication between the Pakistani
Possibly.
and Indian
That's what I'm
government?
saying. Possibly. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay,
I'm
okay,
totally
okay.
like gonna let you know the past 2-3 minutes this guy has gone delirious. Like this is the kind of stuff that I was hearing on Indian media, and
No,
again,
no.
it's complete. No, just to like circle, bring us back to the main point because I know the comic relief was much appreciated, but we can be mirroring what we just criticized.
No, but I'm just saying that it does benefit us. That
Yeah,
we
yeah,
won the
but
war.
I'm arguing that they didn't communicate
Of-
prior to the.
I'm just saying we did benefit out of this.
Yeah,
happening,
yeah.
Right. With Modi's elections, again, every time there's an election that takes place in India, some sort of false flag operation happens. Like, which one was the last one where the 30-40 soldiers died in a bomb attack?
When they did the Balakot thing?
I think it was Balakot. Yeah, it was
Pulwama.
Pulwama. Okay, Pulwama. Right. It was right before the elections last term. Right, and all of a sudden, 40 soldiers die, and Modi wins the election again because of the whole Pakistan. And again, Indians are aware of this as well. Where every time there's elections, something happens where Pakistan comes into the mix of it. Now, a lot of Indians, what I've also seen, again, in this conversation of Kashmir, Pakistan, is that why isn't this fight fought with China? Because they also have part of Kashmir on their side. So, like, the last little...
So, I want to just close off the conspiracy part of it in the next 30 seconds. Which is, what part of this is conspiratorial apart from that Modi might have orchestrated the false flag?
Modi did the false flag, but Pakistan benefits. Now, I don't know if there was a communication between them. I don't know.
Say
Okay.
what I want you to say.
That's
it.
what he's saying.
No, I
I'm
want
just
to
saying-
no. I
I'm
want you
just
to
saying
say
that,
it.
Look, siyasat is a very dirty thing that we have.
Say it.
Okay, it's possible that Pakistan had some sort of dealing that was made with the Modi regime, where I'm being very neutral. I'm not saying I'm Pakistani. I'm not. I'm just saying both parties are benefiting.
Right.
Both parties are benefiting. So what's the middle ground? Hey, let's kill a few people. You win in your country, and we'll win in our country, and we still keep our seats. If that makes sense.
We waited 2 years for this level of analysis.
I mean, think about it. As a neutral individual, who's
Well,
not Pakistani.
I this is definitely the thought process on both sides, but I don't see the need for them to necessarily communicate that because I think on both ends they already know that this is what the deal is.
Imagine they have a signal group chat too, and that's where they discuss this.
And I was on that group.
He was in the
No, you know what? It's like almost knowing Shehbaz Sharif. If this dynamic was at play, turns out like he might have like accidentally downed 5 planes and he didn't know. Next day he's like, "Sorry, bro. I gotta do what I gotta do. Deals off." He's like, Modi's like, "No, bro. I have an election in 3 months. This is not how this works."
Damn.
He doesn't know Shehbaz Sharif and Nawaz Sharif. These guys aren't sticking to any deals.
Really quick though, just the name of this operation was Operation Sindoor on the Indian end, and I didn't know what that meant.
Pakistan's end, it was
Bunyad
Operation
al-Mahsus.
Suhaga.
No, but Thomas and Durban.
I want to go. That's what I'm asking. That's what I want.
Sindoor means what you like as a Hindu, you would put into someone's hairline.
Yeah.
A woman, preferably, to say that they're married.
It's the red
so
mark on the forehead.
basically, they were symbolizing the woman who lost her husband in Kashmir, saying that we're fighting this war for her. But really, okay, and one more question I want to ask before we go into another topic is, how much does the Indian government really care for the people that live in the country? Because we know India has the largest slums in the world. Donald Trump comes to the country, or Ivanka Trump, and they rise up a wall so their beggars can be hidden. The Ambani wedding happens, and they raise phone bills so they can cover the wedding.
Everyone's
So I mean, how much do they really care for the actual public.
They don't. Well, what's this couple? A newly married couple?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, okay.
And now they're fighting a whole war for a woman who just lost her husband.
So I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was just some straight like perverted like. Well, I mean, but you know how these people be online. Online, some of these nationalists are like very like.
Well, it was from Pakistan side where they said, "Oh, it's was Project Sindoor."
Sindoor, Operation Sindoor,
whatever. And Pakistan's like, okay, what happens after a wedding, right? And they
said,
said,
that's what I thought. Yeah, they were like
Project Sohagrat from us, from our end, because we
projects. Okay. They were getting there was a consulting project, 6 months, and it was full 90% chargeability. I think to summarize like India's specific position right now, apart from like
the conspiracy,
which there's probably a 2% chance that's true, to be honest, but which is a lot. 2% is a lot. This is a national question, like that they historically, that the image that Indians see themselves in, both domestically, what they see themselves as on the global stage, as an exporter of engineers, doctors, skilled labor, and someone who has a very long-standing civilization, culture, or inheritors of that at least. This is depending on the damage control moving forward, this will raise questions domestically on where do we want to go moving forward as a
nation,
someone who might not be at a hegemonic level but reaching for it, or had seen itself in that image and now has to recalibrate that. You're seeing the PR battle. I'm not online. In general, you've seen it the past 4 or 5 years, 6 years. I mean, Trump right now, his cabinet, you would have thought Indian expats had put themselves in positions in Fortune 500 companies and medicine. In the government apparatus here, the FBI head, Kash Patel, I think J.D. Vance's wife is Indian. Regardless of all these benefits, the PR, the public relations of Indians abroad, maybe because of this jingoistic government the past decade, or it's just maybe a lack, and I really highly doubt this, a lack of cohesion between different cultural ethics being at play. You're seeing how Israel is able to get a growing economy, do whatever they do decade after decade, and have really bad public relations overseas, because the person knows what you're doing. We might just not do anything about it because we can't, but we know what you're doing. The Indian project, while it hasn't reached the scale of the Israeli one, they mirrored that demeanor. And that's why you see this affinity for Israel and India, because you're like, hey, they're reclaiming this 3,500-year-old land in Greater Israel, and we want to mirror that and reclaim this land that we've lost over the past 2,000-3,000 years in Kashmir.
Century.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, the 1940s is when they lost Kashmir, right?
No. I mean, I'm talking about historically from the Muslims.
Akhand Bharat.
Yeah, I'm talking about from the Muslim populace that
Greater India,
that came into India, ideologically speaking, right now.
Afghanistan used to be Hindu at a certain point, so they're talking about like their Hindu civilizational
like 850 AD ish is what we're talking about. Where they're talking about like borders of that time period, right? Like where Muslim incursion had not happened in Sindh yet, and
Islam wasn't there yet.
Yeah, and that's what they're hoping to kind of. I think 850 Muslims had already entered Sindh, but they're harkening back to that time period and reclamation of land, and not necessarily, but if it comes with it, the populace that inhabits it. If you want to join us, be an underclass or convert back, these are your options. We will come there and we will develop and buy land and become entrenched, settle that land. That comes with the baggage of, well, can you do it first and foremost like the Israelis can? And what happens with your standing worldwide when you are so deeply entrenched in different economies?
So Kashmir would be their test case for as to whether they can do it, right, I guess.
A testament to this is right now Trump dealing with Qatar and Saudi, regardless of the planes that they have, they're not there's other interests at play, and those interests reside with India moving forward. India is the growing economy of the
of course.
21st century, whether you like it or not.
And you can't take that.
Yeah.
You gotta give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
That India is a growing economy, but we are not also Palestine or Maldives.
Yeah,
We do
yeah.
have a military and an army, a very well sophisticated army where you can't just go in like Israel is with Palestine and devour or
Pakistan has air defense capabilities at the.
Pakistan has a great intelligence, and their armies at one of the top level tier. Actually, in some, if you look at some articles, their point of view is where ISI is the top intelligence agency in the world. So again, it's everyone has a different view at
Sure.
it, but like I was saying, we're not. Pakistan is not Palestine. And then another thing that also plays in Pakistan's favor is that it has nuclear capabilities. That being said, the Muslims, as we are not unified, we have multiple issues. But Pakistan falling, Khuda na khasta, God forbid, Pakistan falling means the whole Muslim nation falling, because Pakistan, as the only Muslim country who has nuclear capabilities, that's a big fail as a Muslim nation to lose out on. So I believe one of the main reasons why Turkey, Saudi, all these countries that were coming in aid for Pakistan as India was coming in, is because if Pakistan were to fall,
The symbolic weight of that.
symbolic, and then
Would just be-
the knowledge weight of, as in weaponry wise, that would come out. Like as of today, when the FIFA Cup happened in Qatar, Pakistan's army was there protecting.
It's a mercenary
on-
army.
Yeah, you could say that. And in Kaaba, many times if you go there, military men who are standing there are Pakistani, right? So
Okay.
the mindset is that what I'm saying is, as a overall, if you look at it as a Muslim nation, if God forbid Pakistan were to fall, it would affect the whole region and the Muslims as a whole. So I think that plays in Pakistan's favor, where India can't just come in and willy-nilly just attack and go on its way.
In a way, India is up against much more than just.
Oh yeah.
Pakistan
They're way
as
over
a-
their heads.
yeah.
Like there was one politician in Pakistan who said, if we were to go down, we'll take the whole world down with us. We have 170 nuclear heads. I mean, it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and sure, our GDP is not as strong as India's is, but there was as we were talking about Indian media, there was someone who came on. I can't remember his name, but he came on the news and he said, "How am I going to fight? How are these Indian military men going to fight these Muslims? They think that if they were to be killed, it's shahadat, and they're going to get jannat after they're dead. So they
Right.
want to
The martyrdom
be
culture.
shaheed. And here we are trying to live, and they're trying to fight us, right? We don't want to fight a war where our kids and our families are at risk. But these Pakistanis or these Muslims are going in with this mindset is that, hey, we want shahadat.
I think there's something to say about that martyrdom culture, because you see the same thing in Gaza, right?
Yeah, and they're not leaving.
They're not. It doesn't stop.
Yeah,
It doesn't stop. It doesn't
One
stop.
of the strongest armies attacking you for 2 years,
Yeah.
starving you, and
There's a night and day difference in the wherewithal, like troop for soldier, fighter for fighter. Like that's just very difficult to go up against psychologically.
Like, simultaneously, like with that, specific to Pakistan, that martyrdom dynamic at play, or like the glorification of it. In this whole process, and I think that this is long-standing for the majority of, and in this whole conversation, I want to stress civil society. I'm not talking about the underclass. I'm not talking about the underlying 50-60% of the population on either country. In either country, the civil society in Pakistan, and you can, I guess, I think you would agree, Dana. even if they're like, hey, we were gonna take over the Indian government as in a jingoistic, nationalistic manner, no, you can never sell the average Pakistani on bombing the hell out of Delhi or Bombay. You would not. I mean, for me, we have our like roots. Yes, yeah. Our heritage stems from there, and I am for. I mean, apart from the cliche of like, I mean, the good, well-reasoned cliche of, I'm with the working people regardless, and that's who's gonna lose out. I don't want those places bombed to
Hell
rubble.
no.
I want,
Hell no.
yeah. I'm against civilian
Absolutely not.
casualties, as opposed to on the Indian side during the past 3-4 days.
The rabid,
Bloodthirsty, and at times kind of almost schizophrenic. Where I heard people crying about they don't know what to do anymore. Their life, like I'm talking about lawyers and doctors on like Spaces, on YouTube, who are like in a frenzy over what? Over we could have taken POK. We could have taken. We were supposed to take Pakistan. What happened? Modi destroyed us.
But you
betrayed
also,
us.
You also see a lot of this Hindutva mentality is being pushed as an agenda within the Indian media. Like a lot of these actors who have bigger names. A few years back, Akshay Kumar was interviewing Modi, asking him how he eats a mango. Right? Does he peel it or does he suck on it?
Right.
Then he there's
Vivek Oberoi.
Vivek Oberoi. There's some like I don't know. I was just
Amir Khan, Shah Rukh Khan. Taking pictures, normalizing a Hindutva regime that is openly antagonistic historically and even right now to Muslims. And again, I want to I guess maybe I wanted to cover two things before. I know you decide it's your bedtime or your kid's bedtime. No. At least I want to touch base on those. But this precarious position, another people who find themselves in a weird, precarious socio-political situation is Indian Muslims.
Yeah.
Where while you hear anti-Pakistan rhetoric from Indian Muslims, their leadership in India, expats, etc., you feel mad at first, but if you look, I really felt saddened by the fact that I think you have to say this.
Yeah, they're kind of forced. I mean, if you since you brought this part up, you have to remember a few years ago, not too long ago, I think it was like 2 decades ago, or 17 years ago, when the Gujarat massacre happened.
2002.
Okay, so more than 2 decades. Now.
God, time flies.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was that long ago. Anyway, so
now,
continue.
23 years ago, Gujarat massacre happens. Modi's on a terrorist list for the longest time till he gets elected as the leader of the nation. You have to understand that mentality that comes with it, right? Gujarat's massacre happens, and this guy gets elected as the leader. Now, imagine all those Muslims that are living in the country. And I'm not saying that some are patriotic, of course, as they should be, to the land that they live in. But at times it feels like it's being forced, and it is. Like just yesterday or day before, they broke a restaurant named Karachi Sweets.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's owned by a Hindu.
Right?
They broke it because the name was Karachi in India. And again, to the audience that's going to be listening to us from the India side, I think of it in the perspective of a person who massacred thousands of people who in Gujarat, who was leading Gujarat at the time and did not do anything when the massacre was occurring. For Muslims that are currently living in the country, what type of mindset they're probably going through, or the fear that they're going through.
Right.
Like UP, Aditya Nath, whatever his
name
that
is. Yogi guy.
Yeah, Yogi guy who's leading UP side.
Yeah.
There's millions of Muslims that live in UP. My own uncle lives in UP. And he tells me how mob attacks happen in the university that he teaches in. Again, I don't want anyone to think that we hate India or we're bashing them. We're just talking about siyasat-wise. Again, Pakistanis are the first one to openly blame our politicians, our military men, and call them out. Vice versa, that's exactly what should be happening on the Indian side. I know we mentioned multiple times GDP. India is top growing, but their middle class and their lower class are still dying out. The middle class will still say that they don't have money.
Yeah. The standard of living is, for specific classes in India, is lower than Pakistan. That's given the fact that Pakistan has gone through, 3 decades now, 4 decades now. I would say back to the 90s, the end of the Afghan war in 88, 89. From then on, it's kind of had to navigate
the war on terror, the 80,000 people dying. The whole MQM.
I wanted to I think this really is what I wanted to focus on, which a long-winded way of focusing on something after 2 hours. But I wanted to, this season, this was our first episode of season 3, and I really wanted us to focus on examining this India and Pakistan from the lens of how identity forms over time, from scratch in Pakistan's case. And over the past 60, 70, 80 years now, since 1947, and this is from someone who, just last season, we had a very hypercritical episode on this dynamic at play. And even that was very uncharitable, given that, we assumed that these people were mostly settlers, but didn't take into account that they were fleeing Genghis Khan and the plague and things like that. So it was not exactly in everyone's control what's going on. This identity forming and kind of molding over the past 3-4 decades on both sides of the border, they are born conjoined and to an extent in response to each other. And a secular, non-aligned India who's embracing that primarily because of that multicultural, multi-religious dynamic in its populace. While Pakistan has to embrace that nationalism of being a Muslim nation to make sure that, I'm talking about post-partition, post-independence, to keep coherence to that national project.